Land is in huge demand right now. As a matter of fact, since COVID, the need for space has massively increased. And with all this international struggles and wars and stuff going on, more and more people are looking for a piece of land that they can go bug out on or can just simply escape or just enjoy the weekends. Well, guess what? Not everyone has $1 million to buy their beautiful property. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can buy land for cheap, how you can get lots and lots of acres super cheap without having to break the bank. Okay, so most people think real estate is super expensive, it takes a lot of money to buy it, but let me tell you that there is an asset class within real estate, within land, that you can get really super cheap without breaking the bank, that really almost everyone can afford. And that is acreage, about 1 to 3 hours away from bigger cities. So again, of course, an acre in the city is worth $500,000, right? Developing it can take years and costs another few $100,000. And then you might be in a situation where if the development fails or if you build it right at the wrong time, that you lose all your money. But that's not what we're talking about right here. What I'm talking about in this video is how you can fulfill your life dream of actually buying acres as a homestead. There's hundreds of thousands of people in individual Facebook groups, for example, that are looking to have a piece of land and move on the land and live off the land. There's other Facebook groups that are hundreds of thousands of people, of RV-loving, outdoors people that would love to have a few acres, 5 acres, 10 acres, 20 acres, or 40 acres or something like that, out there a few hours away from town that they can go and spend the weekends on. And if you add into it the technology advances that happened just over the last 5 years, for example, that solar is now affordable, that actually it's powerful enough that it can power a small home, an RV, or a mobile home or something like that, or a small compound if you're building your life estate on a piece of land like that and you want to be like your homestead out there, that without breaking the bank, you can actually put solar on the property. And the other thing is that just 5 years ago, none of these areas had any internet access, not even cell phone reception. But thanks to some new technologies like Starlink by Elon Musk, you now can have a satellite dish in a complete middle of nowhere and you get streaming quality internet access to your RV, to your home, to your cabin, to your tent for that matter, if that's what you choose to bring along. It's absolutely crazy, but with that, having your homestead property, having some acres away from it all has become a possible reality for millions of people. And as a matter of fact, because of that, land is on fire, which is what we use because we flip land like other people flip houses. So there's 2 ways to get to dirt cheap lands. Number 1, you can learn our method of land flipping, where we figure out who owns these pieces of land, who doesn't want these pieces of land anymore, how you contact those, and how you get to pick up these pieces of land for literally between 10 and 45 cents on the dollar. Or the second way is how you can go on the open market and find beautiful properties, often also sold at a discount. So let's go into strategy number 1. Strategy number 1 is how you can learn how to do this. Well, very simply, what you're looking for is people that own pieces of land for many, many years. So perhaps they enjoyed it back in the days. Perhaps they spent some weekends there. Perhaps they had plans to building like a community over there, or they had plans to build a cabin over there, but life and circumstances changed. And now they're a little bit older in their life. They no longer want to go live in a rural area. Instead, what they want, or a recreational area, what they want is simply to get rid of the burden of property ownership that comes with property taxes and that comes with maintenance and that comes with other things like that. They simply also want to cash in. They want to settle their estates. Their kids don't want the land, and so on. So what you're looking for is properties that the owners have had for many, many years. Secondly, you're looking for properties with obviously road access, looking for properties that are about 1 to 3 hours away from a big city, which means that it's accessible for you to come into the city when you need to be, but at the same time, you're still in the peace of quiet of a homestead property with 20 to 40 acres. Or if you're going for the weekend, you have exactly what you're looking for. You can make it on the weekend, you can horse around on the property all weekend long, you can come back for Monday when you have to work again. So the strategy for that is also, so these need to be areas that are actually usually also on their own attractive. So there's lakes around, there's rivers around, there's hiking around, there's biking around. You can dirt bike in the areas, you can do quadding in the areas, you can do all this kind of things around there, which people want to do on the outdoors. Also, ideally, there should be water available, so you don't want to be in a complete desert, because if you want to be building a homestead, then again, you got to provide your family with something. You got to drill a well, you got to have a creek close by, you have a certain amount of water or rain coming in, so you can collect that, and you can with that build a perfect homestead for you and your family. Well, guess what? Once you selected those areas, you simply pull a list of property owners in that area and you send them a direct mail piece of letter, and that direct mail letter basically asks them if they're interested in selling. What you will find, there's about 1 to 3% of the people you send a letter to will call you back and say, like, yeah, I'm interested in selling. And out of those, a certain subset will actually be the people exactly that you're targeting, which is the people that we call the non-wanters. They just don't want the properties anymore, and what you can do is you can simply make them a low offer, they'll accept the offer, and you just found your 40-acre parcel worth 100 grand, perhaps for 25 grand. Well, if that is interesting to you, then make sure you subscribe right now, because in the other videos that I have on my channel, there's much more information about how to do this exact strategy. The second way to do this is by actually going and finding discounted lot on the open market. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to give you some website that you can look around. And one of these websites, it's the 800-pound gorilla of land listings. That website is called landwatch.com. Now, landwatch.com has all kinds of land on it, agricultural land, residential land, commercial land, just like land, basically 40 acres, 80 acres, 500 acres, somewhere a few hours away from any big city in the United States. It has land all over the United States. It has more than 100 or 200,000 pieces of land listed on there, and it belongs to a larger company called land.com. Now, here's the thing you need to do in order to find the bargains. Number one, again, you need to find your perfect area that you want to buy land in. Number two, you got to kind of develop an expertise about what is land worth in those areas. And again, if you want to go to this channel, there's videos where I explain how to value land that will help you figure out how much these properties are worth. Number three, once you become a little bit of an expert on that, you go through all those listings and you go see what land in that area sell for. Let me give you a little secret here. I have been teaching land flipping and land wholesaling, particularly land wholesaling, for the last 16 years. My wife and I, in our coaching business, we have generated over 1,000 millionaires from land flipping. So that first strategy that I talk about, you can build that into a business that you can make 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, and even 7 figures, as some of our students do, with flipping land, and then you get the best land piece that you come across and you keep that. But here's the thing. What a lot of our students, as we call them, do, there are really many of them are masters now, is they go and they do exactly what we taught them. They do that first strategy that I just talked about. They find these properties, this $100,000 piece of 40-acre land that you want to buy. They go find that thing for $25,000. But what they do is they sell it on places like landwatch.com or in places like Zillow.com for $50,000. So even if you're not interested in doing the strategy yourself, you can actually buy discounted lots from some of our students that are doing this all over the country. But you got to know when you see a deal. So therefore, the first step is figure out, become a little bit of an expert of what properties sell for in that area. And if you know that 40 acres sell for $100,000, then you know that when you see that deal that offered by one of our students or by ourselves for $50,000 or $55,000, you know you found yourself a bargain. So whether you do this yourself or whether you just basically piggyback on what I teach to our students for the last 16 years and get those wholesale deals that our students pass on to the public, right there's many bargain deals out there in the world that you can jump on. Another way, a bonus way for you to get bargain land, as a matter of fact, even for free, is to go get yourself a large piece of land and then subdivide it into a few pieces. So if you go out and let's say you buy 100 acres for about $100,000, what you can do is you simply subdivide this 100 acres into 3 lots, 2 of 40 acres each and 1 of 20 acres. So what you now do is you sell the 40 acres off, the 2 40-acre parcels you sell off, and I guarantee you that because 40 acres is actually more attractive to people than 100 acres. Many people don't want 100 acres, it's too much land for them. But 40 acres is a sweet spot. So if you sell 40 acres, the 40 acres are actually probably worth 70% of the 100 acres. So you take a 40 acres, you sell it for $60,000 or $70,000. You take another 40 acres, you sell it for another $60,000 or $70,000. And now what happens is you sold those 2 40-acre parcels for anywhere between $120,000 and $140,000. But remember, you only paid $100,000 for all the 100 acres. And as a result, what happened right here is you sold 2 properties off, you made your $100,000 back, you have between $20,000 and $40,000 in cash profit in your pocket, and you still own 20 acres free and clear. So right there is a strategy that you can use to actually not just get cheap acreage, but get acreage for free by applying the principles of subdividing and selling them off in pieces where each piece is worth more, because in rural areas, the smaller the lot, the higher the price per acre. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, I want to give you a gift. Remember in the first part of the video, I told you about how to do these strategies yourself? Well, guess what? I want to give you the exact same letter that we use as a direct mail piece to actually contact those owners that own those properties for 20, 30 years. All you need to do is follow the steps, use that letter, and I guarantee you that you're going to get some people calling you wanting to sell their properties to you. All you need to do is go to freelandletter.com and download the letter right there.